What's up, guys? Today we're going to learn how to paint designer items with minimal mistakes or errors. It's always a little nerve-wracking painting on pricier items, so let's talk about some good ways to go about it. For our first method, we're going to bust out the handy dandy iPad. A computer screen will also absolutely work for this, so if you don't have an iPad, don't even worry about it. For this method, you'll need a ready-to-use image of your design. You can sketch out the design on a program or even draw something on a piece of paper and take a photo. My design is ready to go, so the next thing I'll need to do is resize it to fit the wallet. And I'm just kind of visually dragging it to size next to the wallet, but you could also measure the width and height of the area you'll be applying the design to. Now that we have the image scaled properly, we'll need some regular painter's tape to tape over the screen. The tape is semi-transparent, so you'll still be able to see the design underneath, and again, this can be done on a computer screen as well. From there, we can trace our image with a pencil or pen, and it's completely up to you if you want to just trace in the outer shape or if you want to trace in details as well. Once you've traced all that you want from the design on the screen, you can remove it and place it flat on the table or mat for cutting. Simply cut around the trace lines with an X-Acto knife and remove the segment for a homemade stencil. This will give you the correct proportions and shape for the color blocking and allow you to add in details later. And once you have the color blocking in, you can take it one step further and create a homemade tape stencil with all the details cut out for easy painting. Method number 2 is a great one as well. You'll need a regular printed image of your design on paper, and it'll help to have multiple sheets for each set of details. For this one, we'll need to cut everything out in layers, so first I'll cut out just the outer shape of the image. For the next sheet, I'll magnify in and cut out some of the details. For the third sheet, I'll cut out her face and details inside. This will make a lot more sense as I go, so don't worry if it sounds a little confusing now. Basically, we will have 3 versions of her with different pieces cut out. One for the outer shape of her, one to stencil in the shape of her hair, and one to stencil in the details of her face. To color block in my painting area before adding details with the paper, I'm going to combine this method with just a regular vinyl stencil, which you can make with any craft cutter or buy online. Once the stencil is in place and secured, we're going to deglaze our stenciled off area. And once we're prepped, we can start color blocking in our shape with multiple coats of flat white. This will allow us to have a neat and designated paint area without harming or messing up other areas of the wallet. Alright, this is where the paper pieces come into play. We already use vinyl for the outer shape, so now I'll line the second cutout for her hair, shape, and face. I can simply tape the paper down and use a pencil to trace the inner areas for accuracy. Outline for the hair and face is done. Now let's repeat those same steps with our face cutout so we can pencil in her eyes and lips. And you can always magnify in and cut out as many details as you want to make tracing the image as easy as possible. We basically started from the outside of the image and went in layer by layer to be able to add in all the details of her face. And of course, if this method isn't easy enough or not to your liking, you could always go with method number 3, which is using a good old-fashioned pre-made stencil, which will have all the shapes cut out beforehand. Now that we've explored various ways to get your image stenciled onto your surface, let's move on to the fun part, which is coloring the design in. I'm going to start by locking in our line work with black paint. Once the black is in place, the design really comes together and is officially ready to be colored in. One tip for mixing skin tones is always start with a white base and add in small drops to saturate the color little by little. Skin tones usually consist of browns, oranges, and pinks, but adding grays will make the color look less bright and more natural. Once the color is in, we can thicken and clean up our black outlines to make the design look nice and neat. I'm just going over every line in the face and covering up any spillage or excess paint. And the last thing I'm going to do is apply some clear coat to the wallet to protect it from scratches, water, or scuffing. This stuff is next level protection, so it's highly recommended, especially for these designer items.